Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. We love to dig into these really impactful books and ideas, and this one really hits the mark.
Yeah.
You flagged TBV1.PDF for us, which is all about Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, published back in 1937, and it's sold over 100 million copies since then.
Wow.
I mean, that's not just some flash-in-the-pan success, right?
Yeah, that's not just staying power. That's like fundamental principles right there.
Exactly. And so we're gonna see what's going on there and why it's had such an impact on so many people for, almost a century.
And it's interesting because you look at like Warren Buffett, Daymond John, Oprah Winfrey,
Yeah.
so many huge names cite this book as a big influence on them.
Really incredible. So let's dive into it. And what better place to start than with what Hill calls like the bedrock of it all,
Yeah.
right? He says desire is where it all begins.
Yeah, and it's not just desire. Like we think of it, just like wanting something.
Right.
He really stresses the intensity of it. Like he separates just a wish or a hope from a real burning desire, like this relentless focus on a specific goal.
So it has to be specific too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is something he saw over and over again in his research. He studied 500 successful people for over 25 years.
Wow.
And that kind of unwavering desire, that intense focus just kept coming up as like a major driver of success.
That's interesting. So it's almost like, if you really want something so badly, that focus that you have, like, activates something inside of you and makes you start to look for the opportunities.
It's true. It's like that intensity almost programs your subconscious. Like it sets up this internal radar.
Yeah, so it's not just wanting it. It's like this deep desire that then kind of takes over.
Exactly. And then you start seeing those chances that maybe you wouldn't have noticed before.
Right. And the example that comes to mind here is Henry Ford.
Oh, yeah.
His vision for affordable cars.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a preference. It was this driving force for him.
Yeah, he had that unshakable vision.
Totally. And look what he achieved.
Yeah.
I mean, he revolutionized transportation. And I think it all goes back to that intense desire.
I think so, too.
So I'm curious, for you, what's that one thing? What's that desire that keeps coming back to you that you're just like, yeah, I got to make this happen?
That's a great question.
Not just hope for it, but really make it happen.
Yeah.
And this kind of takes us to the next step that Hill talks about, right?
Yeah.
Which is faith.
Right. It's not enough to just want it intensely. You also have to believe that you can achieve it.
So you have to believe it before you see it.
Exactly. Even when there's no proof yet.
That can be tough.
Yeah, it is. But Hill gives some really practical tips for building that faith.
Oh, like what?
Like visualization and affirmations, actively shaping your mental state.
So it's about kind of tricking your mind into believing it's possible.
I'm not tricking. I think more like training.
Yeah.
Yeah, like priming it for success. And if you think about what we know today about like positive self-talk and mental imagery,
Yeah.
it all connects,
It does.
Like think about Muhammad Ali, right? Always saying, I am the greatest, even before he was champion. It wasn't just bragging. It was this powerful belief that probably impacted everything from his training to how he handled competition.
Right. So it's almost like he was mentally rehearsing for success.
Yeah. And that leads us to the next principle. Hill talks about autosuggestion.
Autosuggestion.
Yeah, what's that? Basically, it's the idea that our subconscious absorbs whatever we repeatedly tell it.
Oh, interesting.
Hill called it the power of thought.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this all ties together.
It does, right? So autosuggestion means you're feeding your mind specific thoughts and statements over and over again.
So you're kind of planting those seeds in your subconscious.
Exactly. And your subconscious is like fertile ground.
Oh, I like that.
The more you plant those positive thoughts, the more they take root and influence your actions and your results.
It's interesting because I've heard Oprah talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
She used to visualize herself being successful in media way before she actually made it big.
Perfect example of autosuggestion in action.
It really is.
And even today, neuroscience backs this up. Neuroplasticity. The brain can actually change based on our thoughts and experiences.
So it's like we can choose what to feed our brains.
Exactly. We can choose what seeds to plant.
And I guess that makes you really think about the kind of thoughts you have on a daily basis.
Yeah. Are they helping you or holding you back?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got desire, faith, autosuggestion. And then Hill throws in another really interesting idea, the Mastermind Group.
This one's huge.
Why is that?
But Hill realized that big achievements are rarely solo efforts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he came up with this idea of a mastermind group. It's basically a group of like-minded individuals who support each other's growth.
So it's like a team effort towards success.
Yeah, it's about synergy.
Synergy.
Hill believed that when people work together with a shared purpose, their combined energy and intellect is way stronger than the sum of their individual parts.
Oh, I see. So 1 + 1 = 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And he had specific ideas about how these groups should work.
Okay.
They should meet regularly, focus on mutual support, and give each other constructive feedback on their goals.
That sounds really valuable. So for someone listening right now, what would you say, like, how could they find or create their own mastermind group?
Well, I think a good starting point is to look at your existing network.
Okay.
Who in your professional or personal life really champions your growth?
Those people you can always count on.
Yeah, the ones who genuinely want to see you succeed.
Okay, so reach out to those people.
Exactly. And, see if you can establish a more formal structure for collaboration.
I mean, the perfect example of this is Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right?
Yeah.
Two brilliant minds with different skills, but a shared vision.
And look what they built.
Apple, a groundbreaking company, and it all started with that collaboration.
A mastermind group can really provide that sounding board for ideas, help you overcome challenges, keep you motivated.
That's like built-in accountability, too.
Absolutely, and it helps you avoid that isolation that can sometimes come with big, ambitious goals.
Yeah, so you've got this support system to keep you going. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got desire, faith, autosuggestion, the mastermind group. But Hill says there's one more crucial ingredient: persistence.
This is where so many dreams fall apart.
Why is that?
It's not always lack of talent or enthusiasm. It's often giving up too soon.
So you're saying it's about pushing through those tough times.
Exactly.
What's a good example of this?
Well, think about Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah, the light bulb.
Well, it took him thousands of tries to get it right.
Wow, 10,000 attempts.
Can you imagine?
That's wild.
But he didn't see those failures as defeats. He saw them as steps closer to his goal.
That's incredible. I mean, it makes you wonder how many times we give up too soon on something that we could have achieved if we had just kept going.
Right. And I think Hill's point is that persistence isn't just about blindly pushing forward.
It's about learning from those mistakes.
Adapting your strategies, but never losing sight of your ultimate goal.
So it's like a combination of flexibility and unwavering determination.
Precisely. And that determination is fueled by that initial burning desire and that deep belief that you can succeed.
Okay, so this has been really insightful, this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
The PDF you flagged also mentioned some interesting background about the book itself.
Oh, yeah.
Like its connection to Andrew Carnegie.
The steel magnate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was one of the richest and most successful people of his time.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was the inspiration behind this whole thing.
Carnegie saw these patterns of success in his own life.
Oh, interesting.
And he challenged Hill to study other successful people and figure out the formula.
So it was Carnegie's idea from the start.
Yeah, he wanted to find a way to share that knowledge with the world.
And Hill took that challenge seriously. I mean, 25 years researching 500 people, that's dedication.
It was a huge undertaking.
And the fact that this book is still so relevant today,
Almost a century later.
it shows how timeless these principles really are.
Absolutely.
So to recap, we've learned that according to Think and Grow Rich, success starts with a burning desire. You need that unwavering faith, and you can use autosuggestion to program your mind for success.
And don't forget the power of a mastermind group.
Right? Find those people who will support you and hold you accountable. And then, of course, persistence is key. Never give up on your dreams.
Keep pushing through those challenges.
So I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
How could you apply even just one of these principles in your own life right now?
Good question.
What would change if you focused on clarifying your desire or strengthening your belief, or maybe reaching out to someone to be your mastermind partner, or maybe just committing to pushing through that one obstacle that's been holding you back?
It's about taking action.
Exactly. And maybe this deep dive has inspired you to take that first step.
I hope so.
Well, thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Until next time, keep thinking and growing rich.
I like it.